Hello and welcome to Emma's Life in Norfolk. I hope you're all well and I hope you've had a nice weekend. So today, in this video, I'm going to be focusing on a couple of specific areas in my garden. I'm also going to share with you some items that I bought from the garden centre that I was really pleased about, so it's quite a bargain. I talk a little bit about the pots and redesign part of this garden, but I spend most of my time focused on the area in the working part of my garden, which had got overgrown, really in quite a muddle, and was just becoming just a space for pots. You can't get to my chair anymore, my swinging chair. The lilac had overgrown, which was beautiful when it was flowering, but now it's just looking overgrown. And we wanted to put the strawberries in. And in order to put the strawberries in, it was really important that we just changed everything around and try to make things better so the area can be used more effectively. So I just wanted to let you know what I just bought from the garden centre. All these bits around the garden are left over from the storm, with this really big storm. So we've got a few plants. So firstly, I'll get these out. My husband wanted to do strawberry plants. So these are strawberry Alice, mid to late season variety, sweet taste. Now we're not expecting any strawberries this year. We are planting these for the future. It's one of the things that I love about gardening. It's always thinking to the future. So these were 5 for £10. The ones that he's already got a couple, and the range, they did have some of those, but unfortunately they were looking a little bit past their best, so didn't get those. Where's the other one? Here. Oh, that needs to be dug in. That's not a very good one. If I'd have seen that, I wouldn't have gotten that one. Look, the root is really up. Might be okay if we dig it in quite deep. So that's the 5 for £10. Then I really like variegated plants. So for those of you that see this and instantly recognise it, yes, it's mint. It's a pineapple mint. And I've had a few of these over the years, and unfortunately I've lost a couple because I haven't watered them enough. So they do like quite a lot of water. So I might put this over my area in the corner there with my Fatsias, which I've got other variegated plants, or I might put it in my herb section. You'll have to wait and see. I'm struck, as I'm sitting here talking, behind the camera are my delphiniums. And I can't believe how big they are, and they managed to survive the storm. They're massive, taller than me. Right, put that one there. Then again, I've also had one of these before and lost it, so I hope I can keep this one. Again, it's dried out and then it's died. But these can get quite big. So this is a sage. I've got other sages and they're hardy, but any plants which are variegated are generally harder to look after and fussier. But I just love the way the leaf looks. That beautiful colour. And I might put them next to each other in 2 separate pots. Don't they look nice? So we'll see about that. And then the last plant I got was this. Now, for my birthday, I asked for Chinese artichokes. Now, the only place I knew to get Chinese artichokes was online. And my sister and I was expecting the tubers. When my sister came round for my birthday, she gave me this plant. Didn't have a label or anything. And I said, "Oh, what is that?" She said, "What's that plant that you wanted?" She said, "I took it to the garden centre and they gave me this." And I thought, oh dear, I'm not going to, what, is it edible? No, maybe they've misunderstood. So I went back to the garden centre she bought the Chinese artichokes from, and they took me to these. I said, "They are the edible ones with the tubers in the bottom?" He said, "Yes." So what happened was he had these in and he was selling the tubers, like in around autumn time, and he said some of them started drying out, so they potted them all up and they're selling them for £2.99. Now there's no way I could have bought tubers online for £2.99, so my sister has found me a bargain. So I've now got 2 of these, so I now need to decide, look to see what they like, whether they like the sun or the shade, and then plant it up in a bigger plant, in a bigger pot, and then by the end of the season you can then eat the tubers, and you can eat them raw. So just leave that one there, and I'm going to get the one that my sister got me for my birthday, which I can pot in at the same time. Watered, yeah. It's dry. I'll bring it around so you can see it. But I'm really pleased to find these. Now, in terms of being self-sufficient in your own garden, what I prepare for a national power outage. In the event of a national power outage, you'll run out of food, you'll run out of water. There won't be water because you need power to clean the water. So if it went on for any amount of time, people would be in a real state. So obviously I don't have loads in my garden, but if you have some things like Jerusalem artichokes, globe artichokes, cardoons, these, all things that the leaves look nice, and dig them up in autumn, you've got a source of food. You can roast them, like I said, eat them raw. So that's what I purchased. Then also I bought some long canes, but they're bent over at the top. They were £5.50, and then my husband's got some canes for the tomato plants. They were 20p each. So in total, all these plants plus the canes came to £24, which I think is pretty good. So I'm going to get on with some gardening now. So one of the projects that we're going to work on today is I've got a little brown greenhouse that you might have seen in some of my videos, and I'm going to move that round, and we're actually going to put the strawberries in and create a bed for the strawberries. So you'll watch me do that. I just wanted to do a close-up of these items that I purchased, so you can see a little bit of closer. And the Chinese artichoke, I'm particularly pleased with those 2 plants there, one for my birthday and one that I bought yesterday. So I'm quite excited what's going to happen to those throughout the season, and then in autumn when I dig them up and cook the tubers. So look out for that video. So first thing I'm going to start doing is cutting this back. I didn't cut this back earlier because the lilac was so beautiful, but that is creating quite a lot of shade in the garden, and we can't get to where we want to get. So I'm going to cut this back. Probably need the brown bin. Start things. Do you want to get the brown bin, please? Or do you want me to get it? Start something and then realise I need something else. I've cut this back quite strongly. Got a lot of shade in my garden, which I like, but yeah, you can't work in an area when there's so much stuff in the way. Do you want me to pull it through? So you probably heard my daughter say, I got a wet foot now. That was because she was in the garden with my shoes. So I said, can you please not wear my shoes? Can you wear your own shoes? So she went back in and came out with my husband's, like one of his best pair of brown leather shoes, brogues. So I said, can you go in and get your own shoes? She said she couldn't find them. So I then went in and found them and said you just need to take them upstairs and run them in the bath and clean them out. So that wasn't a particularly arduous task, but she came downstairs and put the shoes outside and sat in there in the dining room looking sad. So my husband then said, "What's the matter?" And she said she couldn't clean them out properly. So my husband then cleaned them for her. They're only Crocs. You know, they've probably just got a bit of sand on or a bit of soil from the garden. So my husband then cleaned them out for her. And then they were obviously damp a little bit. So she was complaining that she got slightly wet feet. So you can see this area. I mean, tidying just doesn't come naturally to me. I know some people would just have this area, just organise it in such a way, it would just look perfect. But for me, I just struggle to keep tidy, as you all know. So there's pots here. That water butt is actually a new water butt, so I need to attach that to one of my other water butts. You can see my little swinging hammock chair there. You can hardly get in there. My nephew used to come around and always sit on this when he wanted some time just by himself. But it's got to a point where there's no walkway there. And even if there is, look, it's covered in leaves. So I spent quite a long time weeding, clearing, sorting, putting the pots together and just generally tidying up. I do need to be a bit more ruthless because there's some containers that I've kept hold of which maybe I needn't. So see that big metal bath? The big metal bath has no bottom and it looks really nice. But yeah, it's completely rusted through. So I need to have a think about what I'm going to do with that. Either use it for something, like ornamental, or just get rid of it, give it to the metal man perhaps. Also there's that little brown container that I just moved. That is all falling to pieces. So just here, I spotted a raspberry cane with a couple of raspberries on it. Yummy. Look. And my daughter's come out to pick them. It's only a few. So when you pick them, you just got to make sure you don't pull the plant and damage the plant. That's right, darling. That's it. Pop it in. Now you're much less likely to get, if that makes sense, much less likely to get maggots in raspberries than blackberries. But we'll still check them for insects.
Not like black raspberries.
You can pick those ones too.
Get spiky.
That's it. That'd be lovely.
One
Yeah. The thing is, with raspberries in the garden, because there's no chemicals or anything put on them, the best thing to do is eat them straight away. You pick one for me to eat?
I'm gonna wash it.
No, I'm not going to eat mine. I'm not going to wash mine. I've no chemicals whatsoever. Which one can I have? That one that's just fallen?
No. I'm a bag.
You've got your bag outside the garden for. There's a couple more to pick. You can pick one for me to eat. So after we discovered the raspberry bush, raspberry cane, I was back on clearing up. So the lilac has been cut right back. Then I was covering the privet right back and getting to a point where things need to be swapped round. So the glass frame, cold frame, I want to move closer to the walkway. So you can see I managed to clear quite a lot here, but my plan is to move this over and put that further over into the corner. That's what I'm in the process of doing. Got some seeds here. What are this? Seeds. I have got a lot of pots. My husband just now said to me, "Oh, you need to do some pot rationalisation." Yes, I do, but also I did recently get rid of a lot of pots. Yes, I know I can get rid of some more. These ones I could probably just put in the greenhouse. and pop them in the greenhouse. That one broken. Yes, that one's damaged. So get rid of that one. Got so many things to put in the bin, is the problem. I'm still getting rid of all that rubbish, brick rubbish. Still getting rid of all of that. Right. These were all my sister's. She was getting rid of them, and I took them because I liked them. I haven't actually used many of them. I'll just put those in there for now. So my husband said, well, we can just put the strawberries in there. But I just don't think there's as much light there. More rubbish. Right, so these plants grew in here. That's when I was watering, obviously, and there's plants in here. And then not getting much water in there now. I forget actually I could transfer some of my plants to this. Oh, that's fallen to pieces. Get rid of that. And this soil. I'll get rid of that as well. And these weeds that do it good to me to move it. I forgot, you see, I also forgot some of these things were here, which was annoying. What were they? Pink hollyhocks. Pretty certain I didn't use that little greenhouse last year, so I've not cleared that out for a couple of years in that case. I like this little wooden greenhouse, but just now realised the plastic on it's gone, which is a shame. Right, that's clear enough. My husband tied it there, so we had some bad weather and it looked like it was going to tip over. So now I've cleared it all out, I was then ready to swap things round. So once I just moved the little greenhouse to one side, I just wanted to weed clear up before I moved the cold frame over. And I was struggling to begin with moving the cold frame, and then I realised, well, I can stand in it. I can stand in it and move it. It took me a few minutes to kind of realise that, and then things became easier. So the only thing I'm a bit wary of is that corner, making sure that you don't hurt your leg on the corner. So I've just got to be conscious of that. But I do feel like even though I'm only moving at a small distance, I do feel like it's got a lot more light there. So hopefully the strawberries will be happy. And if you keep on watching, you'll see that we dig them in as a family. Whole family gardening this is. I cut the privet right back. I probably could cut it back a little bit further, to be honest. But I do like these little bits in my garden that are perfect for birds' nests, insects, just wildlife. Near where I live, so many fields and woodlands has just been wiped and new houses are built. It's tragic. It really is. There's nowhere for animals to live. So much of their habitat's been destroyed. So if I can help in a very, very small way, obviously I'm not expecting deer and foxes to come and make my garden their home. But if I can help in some small way, like for instance with my hedgehogs, with insects and bats and butterflies, then I'm happy. So you can see I get that moved over and put into the corner. And I think it's much better like this. And then my husband comes out in a minute and just helps making sure the coal flame is completely flat. I felt like I did so much sorting, but when I look back, this area still does look like a mess. Any ideas of what I can do with these pots? Some pots, they're my spring bulb pots. I just need to have another place where I locate them, don't I? But see, I can't put them somewhere, they're going to dry out. So I've got a few pots with spring bulbs. As you all know, I move them round to my front garden, springtime. There's other pots. Maybe I just need to again be ruthless about some of the plants. I definitely want to keep the pot with the artichoke in, so I could move that into my pot area. And then my husband starts putting down the soil, which Jack's Magic, I mentioned that before. Obviously I don't promote anything on this page because I think that once people start taking money for promoting certain things, you can't rely on the channel. So this is a joint family effort. So the hole's being dug.
No, keep it inside.
Yeah, keep the soil inside, just dig the hole. And we've got 7 plants in total because one sadly died.
It's hard to get in the bottom.
So we're going to put them in. Soil's quite dry. What would be quite a good idea is to dig the holes and fill the holes with water. Should I go and get some water?
Yeah, definitely, Mummy.
Oh, move that over there. I'm going to choose a couple of pots for my new herbs. That's a nice pot. I'll do that one. What other one could I use? There was another pottery pot, wasn't there? Where did I put that? Over there. That green one's quite nice. I do prefer, yeah, just anywhere there would be good. Or if you can put it round here if you can do it. Thank you. There's another pottery one here.
Is it open, dear?
Yes, please. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this round. I'm going to put one in the smaller one and one in the bigger one. And then I need to put my Chinese artichokes in too. Oh, I see.
What?
This has got a chance.
That's what I said to you.
Yeah, well, I hadn't seen it. I'd give that a go. I'm on the mic at the phone at the moment on my video, but that one's not dead. So I'm going to plant these in. So just put them there a second. And then my husband's just put the soil over here. Might move my camera. And then I can fill them up with soil here, rather than going backwards and forwards. So the Jack's Magic is back in stock. And my husband thinks it's good because it's got quite a lot of seaweed in it. And that's why plants are growing. Everybody is complaining about the soil though. None of them are as good as what they used to be. Now we're peat free. Don't know whether the other countries are doing that. Don't know if you can also see my potatoes in here. Really pleased with how they're doing. As you know how I all love buying plants, but I don't like planting them up. Put that one there, I think. That'll look nice. Oops. I'll drop it. Going in a bit to do the salad. Right, that's that one done. I'll keep that there. Oh, this one's got slugs on. Always useful. You know, they come from a garden centre with slugs. It shows that the garden centre doesn't use too much by way of chemicals. And make sure you don't bring the soil right to the top, because otherwise you get runoff when you water them with either a watering can or just the rain, all the water pours out, which you don't want. So just tuck that in there and go and put these in my section. There's a few here that I lost. It's the lemon balm, that's empty. That one looks empty as well, but put these two near the front. That. And that. Have I got any water in there? No. Go and get some more water. So I was just saying, and that cut me off a little bit earlier, just about the Jack's Magic soil. So I'm not sponsored or anything like that, but it's the soil which is really, really working for me. All the other composts, if you're in the United Kingdom, are next to useless. And then right at the end of my video, I provide a couple of little clips of the couple of garden centres that we went to. One which is like Fairy Tale Garden Centre. I absolutely loved it. And then you'll see me at the gym. I have been going to the gym now a month and 1 month, 1 week. So look out for updates on how I'm getting on. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.